think I need to hit go live. Yeah, I'll hit go live. All right, ready, break.
Okay.
Oh, I think I need to hit go live. Yeah, I'll hit go live. All right, ready, break.
Okay.
And mute this. There you go.
Okay.
Gwen, can you not mute that? We'll give a few more minutes for everyone to trickle in. All right, we're gonna get started here in a second. This is recorded on YouTube, so everyone can watch this later if they want to. Just a reminder that the information provided in this presentation is for information purposes only. All right, let's get started. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. It's been a successful past couple of weeks launching the trading competition and letting everyone claim their tokens, start trading, start testing the interface. We appreciate everyone that's taken the time to test out the interface, to let us know your feedback. It's much appreciated. Can't thank you enough for letting us know in the chat anytime you find something that's either an issue or something that doesn't make sense. Those kinds of things are exactly what the trading competition is for, so that we can work out all of these kinks and bugs and make sure that when we launch on mainnet, for the world to see that it's as clean and fixed up as possible. So we are getting close, and appreciate all of your help and all of your participation in this trading competition. We have some profitable traders. It looks like there's going to be a competition here in the next 14 days as the competition winds down for that first, second, and third place prize. So if you haven't yet participated, or if you're still wondering if it's worth it, it is definitely worth it. There's $150,000 in prizes up for grabs. It's free to join. You just need to join. If you're not on the whitelist already, just join the Discord and post in the test request channel. Let us know. We can give you some tokens to play around with on the competition. And the winner of the competition, the top 3 will be those that made the most based on the tokens that you were given. So it'll be a total percentage gain. Whoever has the highest percentage gain will win. So yeah, it's totally free. No reason not to try your hand at it, and there's definitely enough time left to win, even if you start now. So I would, all of you should take a look, try to participate if you haven't yet. If you have, let us know your feedback. Let us know how we can improve, and anything that doesn't make sense to you, or anything that you really like, and we'll take note. All right, so in today's presentation, we have some key points to cover. First will be the trading competition. Since the beginning of the trading competition, we've learned quite a few lessons, and we still have a couple weeks left, so we still have some things that we expect to learn from the remaining time. We'll go over those in preparation for mainnet MVP launch, minimum viable product. We will be finishing a couple of things. This is our core focus right now. We need to zero in on a couple of things for the user interface and user experience. There's some vault behaviors that we're still testing. We need to, and we have, eliminated some exploitability in the contracts, or in the front end, I would say. And we are working on liquidity rewards, both tracking the average earnings of users of our platform and average expected earnings based on historical pricing, as well as working on the liquidity rewards for liquidity mining in the future. And the other thing is contract audits. We have submitted the core library that we are using to Hacken for an audit that is completed as of yesterday. So we'll be releasing the results of that audit very soon. I think there's just one thing on the document, like a organization name or something, that was incorrect, so we need to get that fixed before we can release it. but the results of the audit were no critical findings, only low of importance and informational findings. So congratulations to our Solidity developers. They've done a great job. No big errors in the first round of audits. From here, we're going to be doing another round of audits on another set of contracts as soon as we finish the trading competition, or slightly near the end there, because there are still some things on the contracts that we want to make sure we get fixed first, or we want to add to the contracts before we get that final audit in place. And then finally on this call, we'll give a view towards the future. So some ideas there. We want to talk about our plans for layer 2. We have about 95% confidence in our plan for the future. To explain a little bit further, we have some horizons that are opened by the new complexities that are enabled on layer 2. We have about 100x to 1000x more computation power at the same cost on layer 2. So this enables us to use a lot more complex algorithms, and DK will go into some more depth in this later. And then finally, the implied volatility proxy. It's too early to talk about in detail, but we have some exciting stuff in the works, and we'll brush over a little bit of that later. So moving on to lessons we've learned from the trading competition. There are some good and some bad. The good, we learned that the core financial mechanics that we engineered are working as intended. This means that the C value fluctuates in response to the market supply and demand as expected. The pricing level of the pools and the volatility of the pools are updating as expected, and they seem to be converging to a market clearing rate that makes intuitive sense. So this is exactly what we were hoping to see. That's great. We see that users seem to understand the price level intuitively. We don't have many questions about this, and people seem to understand, what the price level represents in the UI. If we're wrong about this, please let us know. Give us some feedback, and we'd be happy to iterate on that. Another good thing is that the pools are converging towards meaningful utilization, a high meaningful utilization. What this means is the pools, all of the capital in the pools is being highly utilized, which means that the algorithm that we've used for pricing, namely the C value, and our Black-Scholes equivalent, is working as intended, such that the pool's capital gets used to the point to where it's almost fully utilized, and then as it starts to get fully utilized, the price of each incremental option gets more and more expensive to prevent all of the capital in the pool from being totally utilized. And then as the C level rises, it incentivizes more users to deposit capital, and this is exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing the size of the pool grow in these situations, which is perfect. This is exactly what our system was intended to do, and so we're seeing this confirmation in real time in the trading competition, which is great to see. Some bad. So we've seen that in order to prevent exploitability of the pricing function, we needed to limit some of the option parameters. So, one shortcoming of our pricing function is we have a constant C value across all strikes and maturities, and the same for the volatility, the resulting implied volatility. So because of this, there are some options that are mispriced, and so we had to limit the range of strike prices and maturities that are available in the front end. But we expect this to, these limits to be lifted as we improve this proxy for implied volatility and the one-dimensional surface as we improve this later. To touch on the one-dimensional C-level surface, we've known since we put it in place that the one-dimensional C level, meaning the C value, which is one value per pool, is a temporary solution. The final solution would involve a C value for each combination of strike price and maturity that we offer on the platform, such that the C value is able to track the supply and demand for each specific option, not for just the pool as a whole. And so this is something that we're moving towards, and we have some, development and engineering research working on this. and we'll be sharing our findings with you shortly. Um, yeah, and then the next meaningful breakthrough that we're working on will be the implied volatility surface proxy. So right now our implied volatility surface is one-dimensional per pool, but we plan to update this to support different ranges of strike prices and maturities, to allow us to fully support the range of options on our platform that we plan to support. And we're currently collecting data and adjusting the sensitivity of the sea level, et cetera, so that we can tune these data points in the pool until we come to levels that make sense intuitively and cause the system to continue at a good rate of progress. So what do we still expect to learn from the trading competition? Well, one thing we know is that the more data we have, the better we can ensure all of our implications of the model. So for example, the more data we have, the more we can ensure that our pools ensure that the liquidity providers' returns make sense. They're not making outsized returns at the cost of options buyers, and they're not making undersized returns at the cost of their own capital. So this is something that requires some tuning, like I was saying a little bit earlier. Tuning the sensitivity of the sea level in response to liquidity changes, as well as some other tuning in the contracts and updating, the C value proxy and the implied volatility proxy. So as we improve those, we can collect better data and ensure the liquidity providers' returns are where they should be. As we collect more data, we can see that we can ensure that the system exploitabilities that could be introduced by volatile market conditions, such as the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum flying off the handle and dropping suddenly or something like that. So we haven't seen this sort of price action yet, but we hope to see something like that so that we can see how our system reacts. We assume, based on our research, that the system will react quite well and we'll be able to recover from this sort of situation relatively quickly. But of course, it would be nice to see this in practice and make sure that our model matches the realistic situation in production. A couple of things we need to do are make sure that the users are not able to bring the price level to some level that doesn't make sense. So we need to make sure that the price level in all situations, whether it's because people stop trading or it's because people get bored and stop depositing liquidity, in any of these senses, that the price level doesn't trend towards some unfixable level or get stuck in some situation where either depositors or traders aren't able to return it to a level that makes sense. So far, we haven't seen anything like this, but we need to make sure, over the coming weeks that we can try to introduce some attack vectors to see if we can cause this to happen. But so far, all is good in this sense. So our core focus right now is preparation for mainnet launch. We've launched on testnet. Everyone is trading on the trading competition. Things are going well. Obviously, there are some front end bugs that we appreciate everyone pointing out so that we can get them fixed as quickly as possible. We've fixed, I would say, almost all of them. I'm sure there's a few of them that we still have yet to fix. But as we move closer to mainnet launch, we hope to iron out the rest of those. There are some performance issues that we noticed. When you switch from one token to another token on the vaults page, it's a bit slow, and the data updates slowly. We know this, so we plan to fix some of these performance issues and others across the site so that it loads snap in quickly and the data is there when you want it, and you see loading animations when it's not. So yeah, we're working on that. Otherwise, we've gotten mostly great feedback from you guys about the user interface, the user experience. Of course, give us more feedback as you have it. But what's left is, eliminating the rest of the tiny pesky bugs each day and fixing some quality of life issues, improving that, site-wide. And then on the vault side of things, we're testing the vault behavior right now on the side, and we are making sure that we engineer less volatility for liquidity provider returns. This means that they can expect, an average return on their capital, and that average return will stay relatively steady over time. It won't be highly fluctuating, and it won't be, super volatile, such that they can't, predict or expect anything from the returns. They're able to, project that out. And then we need to make sure that, as we add new vaults or as we improve and upgrade the functionality of our platform, that we're not disrupting the price level mechanism that we've set and the, the microeconomic architecture that we've set up there. Moving on, we also need to improve the liquidity rewards in preparation for mainnet launch. So, we have quite a good view on the expected returns without liquidity mining, and they are quite high for single asset pools. So this is quite encouraging, though we know that this only scales so far. So if you want organic volume, it needs to be incentivized. And so if there's a situation where the traders volume cuts down, but the depositor's liquidity goes up, then that could return less returns. So this is one reason why we're looking into liquidity mining, premium rewards for those who deposit capital into the pools over time. But we need to make sure that we do this in a way that avoids wash trading and minimizes the gas spent on transactions. Because otherwise, if we do this naively, it's very easy to add liquidity mining in a way that destroys the gas efficiency of the system and makes it so that every transaction costs quite a bit more gas. So we're trying not to do that. A couple things left to do. Eliminating exploitability. We've done that for the most part. We've narrowed down the input range, the strike range, such that you cannot purchase an option that's instantly exercisable for a profit, and you cannot, purchase an option at which the C level does not make sense. So that's currently done. I'm sure, over the next coming weeks, if there's something else that we stumble upon, we'll fix it as soon as we do. But otherwise, I think we've eliminated the exploitability in the contract on the front end, and we'll, continue to do whatever we can to fix that in the future if there's anything found. Finally, the audits. I brushed on this earlier, but we had the solid state library that we are using for most of our contracts that we wrote, our team wrote from scratch. That's been fully audited. The response came back that, very great, very few issues, just a few tiny things that need to be fixed, low level issues, and then we'll get that code released. And we also have auditors on standby for our core contracts, which we will give to them straight after the trading competition when all of the final kinks and bugs have been worked out, and we know that these are the contracts we'll be launching on mainnet. Okay, so I'm going to be handing it over to DK here. He's going to talk about layer 2 and our feature for implied volatility proxy. I just want to give a short note here. If you are working in DeFi, if you're an engineer, if you're a front-end engineer, we are hiring. So please you take a look at our careers page, post in the chat. I think it will be at careers.premia.finance, but I'm pretty sure that link is currently not working because of DNS propagation. So if you are interested in working for Premia, give us a note in the chat. We have jobs available and we are eager to talk to you. On another note, if you have any questions about what we've talked about so far in this community call, please make sure to post it in our Discord, as soon as possible in the community call questions channel, so that we can answer them at the end of this call in about 10-15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to DK now.
Awesome, thank you. All right, happy Friday for all those that are listening today. Thank you for joining. So I'm going to start off by talking about layer 2, right? So the community has been asking about what are the implications, what are the advantages of layer 2. So I wanted to spend a few minutes on it, right? So we've been actively speaking to different engineering departments of those various...
Looks like there's a slight delay on the stream. DK might not have heard me yet.
Uh-oh. Can you guys not hear me? All right, I think we're good. Just that there's a little bit delay on Froggy's side. Um, Anyways, back to what I was saying. Okay, so we have been actively speaking to engineering departments of various layer twos. The real front runners right now are Optimism, Arbitrum, and ZK Sync. I won't get into the intricacies.
I can hear DK.
I won't get into the intricacies of these three, but the first two use optimistic rollups. The third uses zero knowledge rollups. They have a little bit different user experiences and engineering challenges. But we have been actively managing our engineering pipeline so that we can pivot to looking at L2 solutions and what they can benefit for us as we come to the closure of the V2 and the AMM and the pool launches. So to just give you, some people don't necessarily know the differences between sidechains versus L2. So the main difference is that L2 utilize the security validation methods of the Ethereum mainnet. Sidechains do not. They have their own security mechanisms, consensus, and that kind of brings some concerns, as you've probably seen have been scrutinized the last few weeks, right? So some sidechains are even completely reliant on multi-sigs. For some reason, those members were to act maliciously or be compromised, it could ripple to the security of the entire protocol, right? So examples of these sidechains: BSC, Matic, Phantom. If you bridge assets to these sidechains, the bridge acts as a peg, and the underlying coin that you moved, in an event that sidechain was compromised, you could potentially lose that asset, which is not necessarily true for L2s, as the rollups kind of report back all the state changes back to the L1. It's kind of uses that L1 security enforcement on the layer 2. Now, so why layer 2? Okay, first, the immediate concern is to improve our AMM design, and as well as improve the vault sophistication that we can offer. Right? There's a lot of new and interesting types of financial engineering that we can do with products that exist and do not exist yet. Tentatively, we're looking at Arbitrum, but we're actively staying warm with some of these other options. So, things that we can do on layer 2. Active vaults. We can take in more parameters in terms of these vault strategies. We can make more dynamic decisions. We can look at market conditions to make those dynamic decisions. We can even do vault balance sheet management. We can improve the pool accounting of our various pools in terms of how they're allocating out the assignments, how they're allocating out the underwriting, etc. We can better tailor those liquidity rewards, and which Froggy had touched on earlier. We can build new complex products that expand past vanilla derivatives. That's ultimately our goal within Premia. We were looking to do many different financial instruments. So layer 2 is going to help us build those complex products. In terms of the derivatives, it also allows us to do some additional secondary market infrastructure. Right? So we'll be able to go peer-to-pool, then to peer-to-peer, back to pool-to-peer, and then ultimately the goal is to combine the liquidity across all of these different venues. Overall, what layer 2 allows us to do, like Froggy touched on, it's greater complexity for removing the shackles that are directly tied to some of those layer 1 constraints that we have on Ethereum mainnet. Now, I know you guys have heard about layer 2 for a while. No one's really using it, but adoption is near. For example, Uniswap last night launched an Optimism Alpha. They're already on Arbitrum. Right now, it's mostly only whitelisted users. That's why most people aren't using it in, but it's going to be opening up to all users really soon here. So another thing that we're working on is the iVol proxy, right? It's implied volatility oracle. In our world, it's the holy grail for derivatives pricing. Unfortunately, no solution currently exists. However, we've been actively funding research and development in this space. And to a certain extent, it is a chicken and the egg problem, because on-chain derivatives are not really mature. But to give you some context of what an iVol proxy solves, in our immediate concern, it allows us to give further dated options. We can offer further dated options. We can offer wider strike ranges, and we can tune in that derivatives pricing to give the most optimal price based on market conditions that are occurring. Now, there's 3 ways to solve this in creating this iVol proxy. We can do it dynamically based on past data and current state. which is the traditional way that you've seen it, been approached in other methods through realized volatility. You can do it dynamically based on real-time data in combination with a transformation function. What is a transformation function? Well, we're looking to study how volatility functions correlate between BTC and ETH to altcoins. All right, we'll use that as an inference to then derive a function to attribute that volatility to those altcoins. And there's a few Chainlink oracles that are coming out recently that use Deribit implied volatility, but obviously it's only for BTC and ETH. It brings it on chain, and then we can use that to then derive a function. And then the last is a peer-to-pool market-driven dynamic-based function. However, this needs pools to be highly liquid, deep, and sensitivity optimized, which can be a little bit complex due to the ability to flash mint liquidity. But we have ideas to mitigate this. It's a complex problem to solve, but we're trying our best to tackle this aspect as well. And then last but not least, you guys have probably seen the socials on this. The community has voted to extend the trading competition 10 more days. We're continuing to monitor all the data, optimize the design, and then to give some stats, we've seen almost 500 trades take place, with 260 of those trades being exercised. Now make sure to check out the leaderboard to see how you're doing. That is now live on the site. And if you haven't started, there still is an opportunity to join. Jump in our Discord. We'll get your address whitelisted, and then you can start trading. There's still 10 days left. Who knows what the volatility is going to look like? There's still an opportunity. And Froggy, I already mentioned, we're still hiring. Those are not all engineering roles, so make sure to check them out. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you for your time, and have a great weekend. Actually, now I'm going to open it up to questions. Does anyone want to answer?
Join us in Public Voice for a Q&A after the stream now.
Okay, we'll go to Public Voice. Thank you, everybody.
We're going to take questions right now.